You know, back during World War II, we had a pretty good propaganda machine. We didn't have a woke military. We weren't worried about transgender rights. We were promoting young men. Like, if you watch Jordan Peterson, I encourage you to watch him. He always talks about how, you know, men. And I think that's not what Jordan Peterson says, but I mean, he's just saying that, you know, this craziness that we're living through here in the West is really destroying our, well, I mean, our cohesion, our ability to fight. Let me just play a video here on YouTube. This is from Russian television. And you tell me, I mean, it sounds almost dystopian. And, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you, as a young man, this would just fire me up to go and fight in Ukraine and just obliterate my enemy. Where are these videos in the United States, huh? Where are these videos in the West? I don't hear this, but let's just listen to a little bit of this video for just a second. I think this is astounding. Russians go forward. Showing everything coming off. Russian war works. Kind of sounds like, remember Sparta, the movie? That's exactly what this seems to be patterned after. Sparta! We will fight! We will fight to the end! Now they're showing boxers in a ring. This is a lot of pictures of the Russian Orthodox Church, which you have to understand, Russia is basically forming around the Russian Orthodox Church. They're becoming a cohesive nation of one in this war. It's and this is where, and we're completely split apart in the West. Showing the cross, showing Jesus Christ, showing the church. Showing missiles, showing artillery firing, showing Russian soldiers. Showing airplanes firing missiles, showing Russian tanks, showing radar, showing Russian troops on the ground. Showing them firing tanks again. Russians go forward. Russians fight. Russians fight to the end. Showing missiles flying through the air. Showing the Russian church again. Showing Russian troops en masse. Showing tanks. Don't be afraid to those who kill. They cannot kill the soul of the Russian soldier. We must destroy them. We must destroy their body and put them in hell. All right, I think I made my point. Don't you think we need a little bit like that in the United States or in the Western nations if we're going to fight this war on? But, you know, I tell you what, I hope we don't escalate. I hope we don't send American soldiers into battle. But if the neocons and the warmongering Democrats, if they really want to win this war, they're going to have to go all out. They're going to have to send a lot of American young men in to get killed. I would prefer veterans. Maybe there's a lot of veterans out there that want to sign up for this war. I don't know. I live here in the villages, and it seems like most everybody here just wants to go up, put their hand over their heart, and pretend that you know, their service mattered. I don't know. I'm not of that opinion. I would have willingly fought before I broke my neck. But anyway, so the other thing was I saw a video. Boy, I'll tell you, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's Russian propaganda, but at the same time, they were clearing the trenches, and I don't know where it was. It was just a video on Russian television, and they were telling the Ukrainians, "Come out, or we're going to kill you. Come out, surrender, and we will not kill you. Please come out. Don't try to fight us. We will kill you." And the Ukrainians came out and they surrendered with their hands over their heads. And of course, in the video, they didn't get killed. Now, that doesn't mean that they didn't drag them out into a field somewhere and shoot them in the head later, but it seemed like they were trying to do the best they could not to kill the Ukrainians in the trenches as they were clearing them, because they were clearing them. Anyway, so I'm going to sum up this last video. I can't believe I made 3 videos, but sometimes I watch this stuff and it's just crazy. And we'll finish up with the last of this thing. So as of 29 January, according to Russian television, like I said, you know what, NATO or the U.S. Media, you know, NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox News, you guys want to give me some numbers? I'll report them. But all I get is the numbers from Russian television. So here's the latest numbers as of 29th January 2023. And I reported in my first video the night that Russia shot down one more plane. It doesn't sound like the Ukrainians have much left as far as their Air Force goes. Of course, we're going to be giving them F-16s here soon. But anyway, we got 761 airplanes shot down. I assume that's fighter planes. 204 helicopters, 2,980 unmanned aerial vehicles, 402 air defense systems. By the way, this is your taxpayer dollars at work, so be sure and keep sending your money to Washington, D.C. 7,670 tanks and other armored vehicles destroyed, 995 missile launch rocket systems. That's probably the HIMARS and other systems, and we're going to be providing more for Russia to destroy. 3,956 field artillery cannons and mortars. By the way, I was seeing a report tonight on a lot of the, we'll get into that in a minute. Let's just finish the numbers here. 8,218 special military motor vehicles. So I kind of wanted to give you my slant on war, okay? And my study of history. Okay, a lot of times it's not about the technology, it's about the numbers. Okay? During World War II, the Panzer tanks were far superior to anything that we put out. I mean, and, you know, it's your value on human life. I mean, the technologically advanced weapons means that you're going to kill a lot more of the enemy than they can kill of you. But if you can... So, for example, prop airplanes during even World War II, you know, you can churn those out by the thousands, okay? And so what is the enemy going to do? I mean, how many shells, how many anti-aircraft weapons can they expel onto these little cheap planes that come in and drop bombs on you? But yeah, you can have, in the United States, you can have $1 billion airplane that comes in, and I guarantee you it's going to do very well, but at the same time, once you shoot down that airplane, that could have been 100 airplanes, okay? And so what Russia has done, and the West doesn't understand, is they invested in the low technology, and I call it low technology. I mean, their artillery is as good or better than ours, but what they did was they put that money into these low technology systems, and they mass produced it. And they're mass producing it on a vast scale. And so this is what you do in a war, especially a conventional war. Now, I guess the only way that we as the United States or NATO is going to win this war is to go nuclear. God knows, I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. They might want to do that, these lunatics that are in charge, because obviously they don't know a damn thing about war. So, you know, it took 4 Sherman tanks to take out 1 Panzer, but we mass produced them and by the thousands. So the Germans could produce 1 tank to every 10, 15 Sherman tanks that we could roll off the production lines. So you can see that the numbers matter, okay? And that's what the Russians are doing. And so now we had the German, I don't know, who was the guy? It might have been a general or a chancellor or whatever. He's out going to Latin American countries trying to beg shells from them because the Ukrainians are running out of artillery shells. Well, because we haven't been mass producing the cheap stuff. And I say cheap stuff, I mean, you know, and of course, if we're going to really fight a world war, you know, the Biden administration is going to have to come out and tell the American people to suck it up and go to the factories just like we did in World War II and start mass producing weapons for the war, or shells, conventional weapons. I don't think that's going to happen. And do we have the low cost, you know, so yeah, you have an F-35, which cost $1 gazillion, or an M1 Abrams tank, which costs $1 gazillion, but remember the old M60 tanks? You know, they probably cost an eighth. So you could produce 10, 15 M60 tanks for every one M1 Abrams. You could produce maybe 20 F-16s for the price of one F-35. So just the numbers alone, or the attrition rate on all of this, and these are human lives in these things. But I mean, what I'm telling you is that the war of attrition is being won by Russia, and so that's it. But I did want to give the numbers one last time, and I wanted to talk. Let's listen to the last of the video. There ain't much left. Tank going across. Another tank. Oh, there's some artillery. Machine guns. Guys clearing trenches. Machine guns going off. Troop transport. And that's it for the video. Well, there you go, man. We wanted this war. Your neocon Republicans, your warmongering, all the Democrats, I wanted this war. I don't think we're winning. That's everything I'm seeing. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be. We'll see how it goes. I do think that if we're going to fight this war, we have to back up on our industry and start producing cheaper weapon systems, cheaper planes, get away from the technology and just mass produce weapons like the Russians are. But I think it's too late at this point. I don't think in the next couple, 4 months, I don't know. I just think that the Ukrainians are getting overwhelmed with just the sheer magnitude of what the Russians are producing in their industries. And they can't match it artillery shell for artillery shell. Why are we going around the world trying to beg for artillery rounds? Because we can't mass produce them no more. So yeah, your military industrial complex, they're good at producing complex weapons, but they're just no good in this conflict unless we're going to send them in with U.S. and NATO pilots and NATO ground crews for the tanks and go in whole hard on this thing. And I think even at that point, I do think we might still lose, even if we did that, unless we go nuclear. And let's pray to God that doesn't happen. It's good to live in the free state of Florida under the great leadership of Governor DeSanctimonious.